a little bit about what got you into bodybuilding?
I've always been an athlete, football, track, things like that. I noticed over the years that as I progressed in the gym, my sometimes was better than a lot of people's all the time in the gym. Not to say that in a conceited way. A lot of people pointed that out to me. I was a little hard-headed at first, but after a while I realized it and I thought, well, if I give it everything I got, let's see what happens. And I started to progress a lot more than I thought I would, and most people who knew what they were doing weren't surprised, so I stuck with it, and I've been going full force for about 2 years now. I got a chance to train with Dorian Yates at Temple Gym in England. My wife and I saved the money for almost a year to make that trip happen, and it was worth it. Well, I knew about him.
Magazines when you were a teenager?
Yeah, in the magazines as a teenager, and of course the internet. Now you get to see all of his Olympia videos and seminars and things like that, so I would watch hours and hours of that as much as I could to watch how he posed and how he carried himself and how he worked out in the gym.
Was he your favorite?
For me, it was more so how he trained, his mannerisms, the way he carried himself, the way he conducted himself around people. I noticed it was similar to the way that I am. I'm more reserved into myself. Don't really need a lot of people around me to feel accepted or anything like that. And he just went to the gym and did his thing, got on stage and whooped everybody's butt.
And you know, not everybody gets to go train with Dorian. Like, how did you make that happen? Because I know people are going to want to know that. Did you just send him an email? I mean,
actually, I did. It was fairly simple. I went to his website, and I never thought that a 6-time Mr. Olympia would just train people, especially people, just random folks. But I sent him an email and said I was interested in training, and he wrote back and said, "Come on, man, we'll make an appointment." And you know, he let me know what to do, and we made the arrangements, and I stayed in touch with him for about 8 months to let him know we were on the way. And it was really loose. I thought that I would have to sign paperwork and to make sure that I was coming and all that. He just said, "Show up." Sure enough, I walked in and he looked at me and said, "You my appointment at 11 o'clock?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go, mate."
Slow, slow. One more time. Down slow, slow. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Hold it. Hold it right there. Good. Now let go of it. I got you. It's the front double that cuts.
People that don't know what it's like inside Temple Gym. I mean, that's one of the gyms people want to know about. What did you think when you first walked in the door?
What I read was that it was this horrible, dirty, smelly place, and I didn't find it to be that way. It just seemed that it was a place you could go to be about your business. There was no fluff about it. There's just weights and a bunch of guys in there who are focused and driven on trying to reach a goal, and that's it. Because you don't need all the fancy stuff to do all that.
So you said you were there like a week. Like
I was there for a week.
A session every day, an hour every day?
An hour a day, a session a day. We basically did his workout as close as we could get to what we saw in his blood and guts videos, because that's what I was watching all the time, and I wanted to do exactly what he did because I was so excited. And he was actually really open to doing it. It's like, yeah, we'll do it.
So did that change the way you work out? Like, was his way different from yours, and when you got back, you changed everything?
I learned how to do it his way properly. I had been trying to do it his way on my own by watching the videos, but there's nothing like experiencing it firsthand from the man himself. You learn little things that you don't see in the videos, especially with him yelling at you. You can't get that. Now, that in itself was a big motivator. So I was really excited, and to have him telling me, you know, "Come on, man, one more," I'm thinking I'm dead, but the weight keeps moving when he tells you to. So it was awesome. I had a great time. The way it works with Dorian and I is I do as much of it as I can on my own, and he looks over what I've come up with and says, "Yeah, that's great."
Or what method are you using? High carb, low carb, no carb?
Well, moderate carbs. Basically, I follow the same principles he did. Chicken, ground beef. Don't really care for fish too much. Rice, sweet potatoes, oatmeal. And for the contest diet, we just cut the carbs back. So, for example, maybe off season we do 600 to 800 grams of carbs. Contest time we do 300 to 400.
And you're weighing about 260.
260 right now.
What are you hoping to come in for at the contest?
Dorian believes, or at least when I met him, that I might be a heavyweight. But since he's met me back in November, I put on some more weight and lost some fat. So I essentially weigh the same, but there's more muscle and less fluffy stuff. So we're not too sure that I'm going to make a heavyweight class. He said we'll feel it out and see how things go. I noticed that even though I was doing a contest diet, I still continued to gain weight even on a caloric deficit. So we're not so sure that the heavyweight class is going to happen. I'm thinking we'll shoot for the USA's in July of next year. Of course, that depends on how things go between now and then, as far as my progress and things like that. Dorian pointed out that a couple of things I need to work on was my chest and calves. It's not that I don't have any, I'm not walking on shin bones or anything, but compared to the rest of me, it's a little behind.
You're
so
going to have trouble with being maybe a little top heavy.
Not necessarily top heavy. My thighs are really big. It's just the calves aren't really catching on to what everybody else is doing, so we got to wake them up. But you know, they're okay. We just want to make them great. So a complete package to bring to the stage so nobody can nitpick that guy's first place. Everybody else, too bad.
Anybody that you would like to thank?
Well, first of all, my wife. Without her, I would have never met Dorian. She put in the work and made the effort. She's like my manager, so to speak, to make all this stuff happen and got me to England so I could visit with him. And Dorian, which I'm surprised he took an interest in me when I didn't expect him to. I'm just, you know, some guy that walked in off the street saying, hey, I want to train with you. And we've stayed in touch, and he answers my questions, and he doesn't make me feel like I'm a burden. As I said, I met with him here in Houston, hung out with him all day yesterday, Saturday, through the show, the morning show and the evening show. He introduced me to a lot of people. Indirectly, he's part of the reason why I'm even having this interview with you. Because I was seen with him, and Robbie Duran's like, hey man, shit, you want to do a video shoot? Yeah. So thanks to him, big time. And of course my family, they have unwavering support for me. When I said I want to be a bodybuilder, I guess a lot of people's families might laugh at them or say, whatever, you idiot, but they were all like, it's about time you figured it out. So I really appreciate that, it goes a long way. My name is Jimmy McBride. I can be reached at Jimmy McBride, that's Jimmie McBride at gmail.com. I'd like to say thanks again to my wife, Melanie, Dorian Yates, for all of his support and his help. And thanks to Houston Gym here in Houston, Texas for giving me the opportunity to train here, show you guys my rendition of how Dorian Yates does it. Hope you enjoyed it. Say what's up to everybody out there at MD and hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.